wanted to make a video about a couple of things right now. One of them is when it comes to the antipsychotic medication, how that's supposed to work. My understanding is that there's a certain duration where the antipsychotics tranquilizer property is in effect. I would surmise that originally it was believed that that was to be the primary factor for effect for in other words, that the tranquilizer is not a side effect. That's the central thing that the medication does in terms of the pharmacokinetics. So you can hypothetically look at ways to manipulate how you look at it, but that's not primarily what those pills, etc., do. Like you could hide a pill somewhere in your room and then go look. That's not really what it does. It could be that the duration is not matching with the length of problem that people are having. It could also be that people don't receive the tranquilizing effect as something that's immediately directly beneficial to their condition. I also wanted to mention, and I don't know if Google Shorts has some time limit where you have to have the video be over a certain time limit before it goes off of Shorts. Anyway, when people are deciding how to act, of course we want to be kind, and in the recovery community per se, I think that there's a emphasis on the ability to, in my experience, be kind, be nice. You may not want to be irrationally so. However, so some ways of being nice or treating people in a particular way may not be exactly the gold standard of reality all over the place. So what do we do about that? Well, we don't want to be less kind. We're just ought to kind of represent some things that are maybe sturdy, like recovery can be sturdy. If you feel you've gone through some trauma or some things, you reach a certain age, perhaps you still have all that experience behind your belt per se, and so you feel like you've learned something. I think that's what recovery means in the area that I'm in Ohio, for a large part. And then being able to understand how you can be like a consumer, for instance, in the society is very important, because so much of what we do in the world of the recovery of our normalized world, or pseudo normal world, has to do with being a citizen, being a consumer, someone who's in the socioeconomic system. And that can be difficult because sometimes the things that lead us astray from that may want to continue to lead us astray from that. And there's no simple, easy answer to how do you, continue to be active in your life so that um, you can be vibrant and you can be full of life, but it doesn't have to be in people's addictions, or people say active addiction. You can be actively doing a number of you could be actively having a mental illness, or actively searching for work, or actively working at your job. You could be actively doing a lot of things. So to be active, you don't you don't necessarily have to be in quote unquote active addiction. You could the problem of being an active person in society can manifest in other ways as well.